Welcome to Lifted, elevating the game. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and welcome to episode 6 of the Lifted podcast, the last one before the Tournament of Champions. And we have a doozy today. We have 3 guests, actually. The first one, my cousin, Mohsen Karmali, who is a part of the Nasiha organization that we have partnered with this tournament. And before we get into him, obviously, you guys know that we've been hitting home Nasiha and what they do for the people around the world, and it's an amazing organization, and I can't wait to hear more about it. And I hope Mohsen can touch on that, and I hope that during this tournament that all of us look forward to supporting them and their cause. And yeah, man, it's a couple of days away, so let's get to it. Mohsen, assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for being here.
Alaikum salam. It's more than a pleasure being here, and so grateful for the opportunity for Nasiha to represent at the tournament. Absolutely.
Of course. Let's talk about Nasiha a little bit and the mission and the goal for what the organization is all about.
Yeah. So I'll try to give you some high level kind of history, where we are, where we're going type thing. So Nasiha was founded back in 2006, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it was started primarily as a volunteer youth helpline. A bunch of guys came together and saw the need for it.
Mm-hmm.
And back then, for quite a long time, for probably about 10 years, they were running off of volunteer hours, people who were just basically, in a nutshell, operating a helpline so that people can call into this helpline and get support that they need. So in essence, the ethos of Nasiha is the helpline.
Okay.
To have a safe space for an individual who, primarily the youth who are going through issues that they face in North America, to have a safe space and a lending ear to talk to, right? So that's how Nasiha started. It's still the primary focus of Nasiha, but I just want to, give everybody, the audience, an understanding of the ethos of the premise. So fast forward 10 years, and Nasiha got their charitable status in 2016, 2017 in Canada.
Okay.
That's when I personally joined the organization. At that time, I learned about it. I had no idea such a helpline existed.
100%.
Me growing up in North America, I've had a lot of challenges, as a kid, as a youth. I've worked with the youth through the madrasa systems all across North America.
Right.
And I've seen a lot of kids struggle. So when I, including myself. So when I heard about it, I was like, hey man, this sounds really cool. How can I help? And, alhamdulillah, the journey started for me at that time, hoping to kind of build the organization, turn it from call it a volunteer type organization, try to get staff, try to pay staff, try to build out and scale out the model, so to say.
Right.
And alhamdulillah, 2017, was the start of that journey. Obviously, you're, as a charity in Canada and in the United States, you have rules, regulations, you got to create a board. And our co-founder, subhanAllah, kind of said, hey, let's, Mohsen, are you up for helping out? And I said, absolutely. Right. So, the journey began there. 2019, 2020, we became a 501c3 in the United States. So we, the 3 main services. So that's kind of history. Nasiha at present, we offer 3 main services. One is the helpline.
Right.
SubhanAllah, the helpline is a text line. So anyone can call it toll free.
Okay.
And get a trained peer support counselor who is paid. So we have now a staff of over 17 people who are paid.
Wow,
we have our call center, our head office that we just moved into. We just built this year up in Mississauga.
Nice.
And the peer support helpline is available throughout North America. So anyone, whether you're in the US or Canada, can call that line, can even text that number. So even if you're not comfortable calling, you can actually text that number. So that number is operational 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. We're trying to get it to 24/7. We average about 700 conversations per month right now,
that's awesome.
Which is significant.
That's
but
huge.
The scary part is, we're collecting data, and the stuff is, there's a lot of complex issues now in the
Sure.
community, in our society.
Yeah.
3% of our calls are crisis calls, and
Right.
that's basically meaning that someone's going to harm themselves or
Exactly.
going to harm someone else. So that's the helpline.
Mhm.
We also in Canada, and hopefully inshallah we're going to start this in the US, but it's a big beast in the US, but we actually offer free therapy, right?
Oh,
So we offer free therapy across Canada with registered psychotherapists. And if you know anything about therapy, it's very costly, even in the United States.
it is.
But the user gets this for free, and Nasiha's footing the bill. And then the third thing that we do, our third main pillar, is really around education, awareness, and outreach. Why? Because we have a big gap, between our parents, our generation, and learning what is mental health, what is mental illness, even our own generation.
Yeah.
So we want to raise our education awareness, our education level about mental health, mental illness. And then the other big part is advocating to trying breaking stigma, right? So
Yeah.
we come from communities where it's Arab, Indo-Pak, African, we don't talk about these things. Or when it was talked about in the back generation, it was, jinns or someone's crazy or all that
Exactly.
stuff, right?
Exactly.
So that's kind of Nasiha in a nutshell.
Okay.
We are pushing hard now in the US. The plan was pre-pandemic, register as a 501c3 and then start getting on the ground. And the goal now, inshallah, in the next couple of months is to set up kind of regional hubs, hire people,
Right.
create that volunteer core that we want. And you just really get out there and make sure that within communities, people know that the service exists. This is what we're doing. And obviously asking for everyone's support, whether it's dua, volunteerism, fundraising, and all that.
100%.
So sorry to take too much time, but that's
No,
kind
no,
of
no.
Nasiha in a nutshell, man.
That's awesome. And I'm so grateful for that information, because I think a lot of people want to know what Nasiha is all about. And what's the way to get in touch with them? What's the hotline?
Yeah, so it's pretty easy to remember. I hope the branding is kind of on point. So when we chose Nasiha, or when Nasiha was chosen, pretty easy name to remember.
Yes.
And very easy to remember the number. It's 1866 Nasiha.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you
Quite
dial
easy.
out Nasiha on a phone, it's 1866-627-3342. And that's kind of how you get the support. So it's a call in and a text in service.
Awesome. I talked about the stigma and the mental health issues that volleyball players, and I think that's why we are partnering with you guys in terms of bringing this to the forefront. I talk about my own battles with anxiety, and I talk about other people that I know have come to me after I've opened up about it, about their own battles with anxiety through this game. What do you think volleyball players can take away from this? And I think them just knowing that you guys are there, I think will be a huge thing.
Yeah. So specifically, let's talk about anxiety. Like it's funny you mentioned that, because this is the first time in my life I experienced an anxiety attack for the first time in 2022. So I was like, yeah. So it's kind of neat for me talking about it too, on a personal level.
Yeah.
I think for volleyball players, I mean, I generalize it in sports in general. I've played a whole bunch of different sports, but volleyball's got, like, especially our community volleyball.
Yeah.
Man, that's got like some pretty
serious heat, man.
Serious heat, man. So, if I want to relate anxiety to volleyball, I mean, you got so much pressure. Like, I mean, I've played a little bit, I grew up thinking volleyball was like, this weird sport. And then I got into it when I moved to Florida. And I was like, man, these guys are like, this is next level, right?
It's life almost. Yeah, for some people.
Well, back when I was like, this is it, right? So, which was cool, right? So it's got the dynamic of all this pressure, but there's so much beauty in the game of our community volleyball.
Exactly.
From being able to kind of, and this is any sports, but volleyball specifically, right? So I'm talking like, hey, you can either choose to go out and hang out with friends, for example,
right?
Or I'm gonna go play volleyball, right now. So the pressure part of volleyball, not so great, but the fact that you're getting people to maybe not do
certain things,
best things or certain things, all of a sudden you're going to play sports on a Friday night, Saturday night, and you're hanging out and you're playing volleyball till like 3 a.m. and then you're going home. Now,
Exactly.
you can say that that might be a bad thing, but you're doing something healthy.
Yes.
You're staying out of trouble,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're hanging out with friends, right? So those are some positives.
Yeah.
But within the game itself, I think there's a lot of stuff that, frankly, I've been following it. I've been watching. I think the podcast was really cool. I think what
Thank you.
the next generation of volleyball players are doing is, and honestly, I think this is what the guys that used to play wanted to see.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay, and I think that gets a little bit missed, quite frankly,
100%.
right?
100%.
So those guys, as much as they were tough as nails, they were the pressure
Yeah.
guys. They were this.
Yeah.
They're teddy bears.
100%.
Okay, and they actually wanted to see that. So I'm glad that it kept going. I'm glad that now the next generation is. I'm seeing, at least from my observation now, is that there's this better sense of brotherhood, if you will,
Of course.
coming together.
Of course.
It's always been there, but there was a lot more. I don't know.
No, yeah.
And I hate to generalize it this way.
It's
but
true.
There's a lot more pressure back then.
It's true.
And that's me observing it, playing it, and now kind of observing it again.
I think what it comes down to is that the new generation understands the platform that we have, right? It's a sport of our own, in essence, because not many people play this type of volleyball. And so we've taken it under our wing, and we've kind of created something from it. And I think, again, anything that is done and in terms of media or, throwing things out there or growing the sport, we have taken it, as our own, and we've tried to do our best. With that comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of pressure. And with that pressure, we live in communities where, something that's done on a volleyball court could be talked about for months on end, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I'm not sure how it is because I'm kind of removed from the sport.
Right.
But man, I remember some of that stuff and I was like, this is nuts.
Exactly.
Like, it's supposed to be a game.
A game. Yeah.
It's supposed to be a sport game.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, people had, I mean, just because of volleyball, you'd have issues at home.
Exactly.
And I was like, "What the heck, man?
Yeah,
this is nuts." I love the game for the game, like
exactly, and that's what we're trying to bring back, right? The love, the passion, almost playing it like you're a kid, right? We talk about that all the time, and sometimes you lose track of that when you're so engulfed in something and you're passionate about it to the extent where sometimes the negative aspects of it can come out, and again can sometimes come out of a person, and you don't want that, and that pressure can really lead to. And the last thing we want right now is, while we're trying to grow the sport, for youth to not want to play the game because of the pressure, or not want to play the game because of the anxiety factor, or the mental health issues that come along with it potentially, right? They just don't want to be around it. Our goal is to kind of bring them in and tell them.
I'll tell you what, there's another part of that though. And I got to say this, like, especially as a guy, because I don't think, do women play volleyball?
They do. Yeah. There's a women's
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm just like, from the other part of it is like, me growing up, sports was also an avenue and a channel for me to release that energy.
Yes. Exactly.
Now, the unfortunate part for me, sometimes I would be, maybe not volleyball, but maybe volleyball, like, maybe someone would say, "Hey man, this guy's like just a nutcase," or he's like, it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Happens on the golf course too, but
of course,
always. But it's also a channel for release. So yes, there's anxiety, yes, there's pressure, but it also allows, especially a youth who's got all that extra external pressure too.
Yeah.
Sometimes it also facilitates them to actually release that pressure.
Exactly.
So that's something that, I'll be honest with you, I've even seen struggling youths. You can actually see them being able to at least release on the volleyball court.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe volleyball has pressure. Yeah. But sometimes you have so much pressure outside, work, and then it's a release, right?
I talk about my anxiety attack that I had in 2016. And I, from then onwards, learned about anxiety and how to, handle it. And I found my own ways to beat it. But I leaned on volleyball sometimes to help me, get away from that. And instead it exacerbated it and it made it worse. And I think that's when something like this, where Nasiha or anybody out there that who I knew was going through the same thing, I could have easily gone to. And so I think what you're doing, obviously, most in your group of guys, your organization, obviously a wonderful thing, and it
Yeah,
hopefully breaks the stigma in our community, and
inshallah.
hopefully, a lot of people do use the helpline and do come to you guys, and we're all going to be behind you 1,000% supporting this. And I hope in the future volleyball tournaments have Nasiha boots or anything of that sort behind them, because I think
No,
a lot
you
of
know
youth
what?
will.
Inshallah, and it goes a long way. I appreciate. I wish I was actually gonna come. It's just been a little bit of a whirlwind
I'm sure. No, I
with
know.
where
Yeah,
I'm
you
at. I
were.
wasn't able
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
it, but
yeah.
you know what? I'm looking forward to kind of making sure that we have, set up our volunteers that are able to set up
Definitely,
booths there.
definitely,
All the support that hopefully comes out of the tournament. And I can
definitely.
tell you, like firsthand, I know of people who use the service. I know of people who have sought help,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
alhamdulillah, it's working. I mean, that's what it's there for, right?
yeah, man. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
I heard that you used to play volleyball and that you were really good at one point. I mean, you are a Karmali, so
We,
kind of makes sense, right?
I hope,
Do
I
we ever
hope.
are we ever gonna see you again in action or?
I got some pretty neat volleyball stories, but I think that might have to be saved. I remember when the likes of Turab is like a 13, 14, 15-year-old would come to Florida, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like, hey,
yeah,
Mohsen, show him around. Like I remember his uncle
yeah,
would be like, man, take him around. I remember those
yeah,
days, and
yeah, 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 yeah,
the
yeah,
days when we used to play in Orlando and take the boys out, Arifali and the gang,
yeah,
and we
yeah,
used to we used to go play out on Sunday mornings.
yeah.
Our
Exactly.
fathers and some other community members, my brother, we play with the Union boys,
Yeah,
but the kids were just starting at that time, right? So
yeah.
we'd
They
go
loved
play
it.
on the sand,
Yeah,
and then they got good,
yeah.
and now look where they are today.
Look where
So
they are,
lots
man.
of stories there, man. Probably another podcast, but
I
inshallah,
appreciate. I
like, you know
appreciate.
what, this old guy, this old Kermeli might. I mean, I want to play, but talk about pressure in Toronto. Try to get on a volleyball team there. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, man. Listen, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
Sorry to take up
Thanks, bro.
too much of your time, but
No, no, no. Thank you. I
inshallah,
appreciate it,
see you
and
soon, man.
we really appreciate Union, your podcast.
Yeah,
If people there just can raise awareness about Nasiya and support, that'd be huge for us, man. So
for sure.
jazakallah khair. Thank you guys so much, man.
Sure, man. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a nice day. I'll see you soon, man.
Good office, man. Take care.
On to the tournament. And I have two guests here today with me, but which I'm excited about. True Orlando Union guys. But before we get into them, a couple things about the tournament. The kids workshop, which is the first of its kind at any tournament, will be on Saturday, December 31st, between 6 and 8 p.m. There's going to be a magic show, face painting, balloon art, ice cream for all children. So if you're looking for Arifali during that time, he will be there getting ice cream. Um, uh, we also will be having a lifted swag at the tournament, thanks to Samir Datu of Cutting Edge Signs and Visuals. If you see us with the swag, then let me know if you're interested, and we can get you guys some. But yeah, that's it. A couple days away, and on to our guests, JJ Bhojani and Arifali Chatoo. Thank you so much, guys, for being here. I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be a doozy. How's it going?
Pretty good, man. How are you?
Not bad. JJ?
Well, it's going well. So thank you very much for having us on. We appreciate it, man.
Of course, of course, of course. Anytime. We'll make this quick as can be. We'll start right off the bat with you, JJ. Obviously, a veteran of the club, a longer history. Talk to us about your beginnings in volleyball. Obviously, your father being Marhum Johnny Bhojani, and how big of a role he played in your start in this game.
Yeah, so the game for me goes back to before Orlando. It goes back to Allentown, Pennsylvania,
Right.
where unfortunately I left too early, obviously, because I missed some water.
Yeah.
Those guys are all 6'5", and I'm 5'6".
Yeah, word.
So that's where the game started, man. Not getting to play, getting to go to practice,
Okay.
watch practices go, get to play between timeouts, where
Yeah.
for the likes of Obi, Sadiq, Arif throwing me the ball and I'm getting all of them, and that was a highlight of our Friday night.
Yeah.
That's where it started, man.
When you were born in New York,
Correct.
Hence your New York accent. Then you moved to Allentown, and when you were in Allentown, you were there till how old?
I was before middle school, so 8, 9 years old.
Okay, so during that time, obviously your father was a challenger member. Is that correct?
Yeah. Just like everybody else, Challengers was the only show in town. So
Oh, there was no young Muslims or Allentown Union at the time.
no, so it was Challengers first, and then after that, they actually opened up Orlando Union. Sorry, Allentown. Union.
Allentown Union, right. So you moved to Orlando at that age, and what was the volleyball scene like here? Because you moved here in 97, am I correct?
97, 98. I'm not great with the year, but somewhere around that time. So
Okay.
the landscape for volleyball here at that time was, there was a team we were playing. It was mainly outdoors.
Oh, okay.
It was the likes of Faisal Virji, Hilal's dad, Mamadala,
Wow.
Raheem, Ghulam Jaffer. It was that was a landscape. It wasn't, I don't think it was competitive. I think it was just guys getting together on Friday.
Just play.
Just to have fun, yeah.
Okay. And Arifali, you got into Orlando and moved to Orlando at what year was that?
We moved here in 98.
In 98. So similar time, right?
Yeah,
What-
yeah, 97.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like for you? Because did you watch these guys play volleyball and start to like it, or did it take some years before you did? Because you were what, 7 years old, 8 years old at the time?
Yeah, I was 7, 8 years, 7 when we first came here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'd get to go to Jamestown.
Oh wow! So Jamestown was around for a long time.
Kids were only allowed to go to Jamestown and play. If they got to play, it was side net, or like they'd make a position one step behind side net, and if you did really good in side net that day, the last game you're allowed to take that step.
Wow!
But you had one chance. You mess up once,
that's
you went
it.
back in net.
You're done.
And that's how we started.
Okay.
And I was in that side net for like 4 years. I played side net.
Okay. And so 3-4 years, you're looking at 11 years old. When did you truly start falling in love with the game? Like, did you think at that time, like, all right, okay, fine, I'm playing side net, but I really I don't mind coming here and playing side net. I love it.
It was when we started playing at Siemens.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was outdoor, and then there was like 2 courts there.
Okay.
And all the kids would be there Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
So you're either playing football or you're playing volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, we just stopped playing football. We all got into volleyball because we started getting a chance to play like front side.
Right.
Front side. Like
that's it. That's the most you're gonna get. Yeah.
If there were 4 players, you went back. But
so you watch JJ coming up through this system, and he's a youth at the time. Where did you fit in? Were you playing front side? And then when you were playing front side, did you think like, okay, fine, eventually I can end up in the back? Where were you, JJ, at this time?
We weren't like he was playing with the adults at that time. He wasn't playing with us. Like he was with the adults, like with Rial's uncle and Kamal. Like he was with those guys.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we were in a different, like we weren't even in his vision. Like he didn't see us at that time. Like, rightfully so. Like we were just
fair enough.
We weren't even taking it seriously. Like we were just there to be there.
Yeah, exactly. Right. JJ, you are playing with, like you said, Riaz and Karmali and these guys.
Yeah.
What was your role in this? Because now you're not playing with the young guys, but you're up with the adults. Are you playing front side, front wing?
Yeah, so net first, just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Out of Allentown playing net, outdoors was playing net. Think I got my first shot to play out was at this Siemens practices, which was like the boarding house of Orlando, right? Like
right.
Bar has their boarding house, we had Siemens. It was
exactly.
It was a whole activity night basically.
Right.
So that was the first time I got to play, front side, front left, front right, back. If Brookrow would let me play back, I would get to play back. If not, I would play in front of me and kick me in my butt. Like that's how it was back then.
That's how it was back then.
Absolutely.
Did you enjoy it though? Were you like, okay, fine, or was it more so like, oh, you're Johnny Uncle Son, you gotta play?
So I think one thing about my dad was he never ever imposed the game on me.
Oh, okay.
But he did impose that you're not gonna sit home on a Friday. So we used to play, in Allentown, we used to play football in the hallway because we never. But just seeing him being so involved and seeing how many people he met, how many people I could meet, it was contagious, man. And you end up, falling in love just watching my dad have so much joy playing this game.
Exactly.
And then we go to tournaments and we meet this uncle and that uncle, and to me it was a overgrown family, which was, what made me fall in love in the beginning. And then, obviously, my dad being such a big role in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was almost like inevitable, right? Like,
Yeah, no doubt. It's funny. It's funny because I never got to watch Johnny Uncle play, and I don't recall him playing, and I was way too young. But the way that I hear about how good he was, and the way that people speak about him, and the way that these interviews that I hear from legends, that he was this like personality that was like willing to take on anybody at any given time, right? I'm sure at some point that also, wears on you a little bit, and that wears on you, but like you also are like, oh, dude, that's my dad. Like, I got to follow in his footsteps, right? And we see that with a lot of guys like Najaf, Uncle, and Faisal Dirani was another person, right? So like you see it coming up the ranks where if your father is this grand personality who's amazing at volleyball, one of the best players of his time, it almost is like you also have that responsibility to almost carry on the torch, right?
Absolutely.
You were nicknamed the Golden Boy by a lot of us growing up. Okay. And I didn't know if you knew that, but we always
heard it from you. In your podcast. That was the first time I heard about it.
What was it? Sorry?
I said I heard it first in your podcast.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There you go.
I guess I've been called a lot worse, so I'll take it.
There you go. Hey, the Golden Boy is not bad, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the Golden Boy, because you were a youth that was coming up in Orlando, where there were a lot of older players that had moved from New York. Okay. Yeah. There were guys at that time similar to your age, were like Mikey, but they were still in New York. You were in Orlando, and you were really the only youth in that generation, really, that was coming up in the game. Correct. Obviously, also being Johnny Uncle's son was again a thing put on you, a spotlight put on you, maybe that you didn't even ask for, but it was something like, okay, let's see what this kid really has. Yeah. Also, at the same time, you are a New Yorker, right? You were passionate. Everyone knew you had a personality. You wore your heart on your sleeve. You had a lot of emotion. There's a story that I've heard from Mikey himself. Mikey, I'm not trying to call you out. Where I believe Allentown brought a youth team to a New York tournament, and you were playing and you lost in the finals and you were upset and you were crying. It's not something to be embarrassed about. That just shows how much passion you have, right? Like you loved the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
At a very young age.
That game, I remember like it was yesterday, even though it was like 9. But Murtaza Jaffer was playing front center. Inayat was playing back center.
Wow.
Me and Shiraz Jaffer playing net. It was like, and it was against, Mikey. Yeah. I think Chico was there. Nishat was serving. Like you're talking about, and those guys, at that time, those are the guys that we looked up to because, of course. Me and Mikey are best of friends, but he was the guy that I looked up to because,
no doubt,
a couple years older than me. Like you said, nobody in Orlando in that age group. So I really look up to them for sure.
Did the spotlight and the expectation ever almost not get the best of you, but take a toll?
So I wouldn't be telling you the truth if I said that I ever felt the spotlight. Okay. And I think I didn't feel it because I had people like Riaz, I had people like Junior, right. I had later on Ali Raza, I had Kamali. A lot of these guys, they raised me like the golden egg, where they were around me, protecting me from all the the craziness that was going on. Yeah, they groomed me to become later on chairman, right. to this leadership role in the back seat, but still involved. Right. So all the credit for that goes to those guys because without them, it would have definitely got to me for sure.
You end up getting a crack on the 18 finally, and what year was that? That was 2007, I believe, where we're going to next in a couple of days, and that's champions, right? Yeah. 2007, you get onto the A team. What was that whole time like when they told you, hey, you're going to be on A?
So 2008, we had Arifali and these guys were playing on the
younger team.
So, it was a B team.
Yeah, but it was like another pool, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So you were on the A team before that, because New York, you were on the A team. We were on the B team.
New York,
2007.
I was only. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, so New York 2007. That's right. We were wearing the Adidas tracksuits. Yeah, that's right.
Oh no way.
Me, Taj Kimji, Dogo. I think there's a picture online. I saw it, but yeah, that was my first crack at A.
Okay, and where did you play?
Back left.
Okay.
Back left or back right? Yeah.
And that was the tournament, Arifali, where you, Hassan Somji, Hilal, that was your team. Willie.
Willie, yeah.
Okay. And you guys almost upset New York in the quarters or something, right?
We did?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. You guys got to the quarters and you almost upset New York or something, or it was round of 16 or something, or knockout game or something like that. I remember that. Hassan Somji was
wearing the first crack.
Those infamous goggles, right? Yeah. So that was your first crack, and eventually that that opens up a door for you in Champions, where you start playing your second tournament with them now. It seems like.
Yeah.
And you guys make a run to the finals.
Yeah.
How surreal was that moment for you? Obviously, at that young age. How old are you now, JJ?
37 now.
You're 37. So if you look back, that's almost 15 years ago. You're 22 years old.
Yep.
And you're getting your chance on A with the guys like Saj and Riaz Javraj and Alireza Manakia. I mean, it must be a lot of pressure, right?
It was definitely a lot of pressure. And that whole tournament, Alireza was like in my ear the whole time. Like, you're gonna get your chance. You're gonna get your chance. Don't overdo it. You're gonna get your chance.
Right,
and
right.
lo and behold, I get my chance.
You do.
Obviously we're down 94-4, but
Yeah.
a chance is a chance, so I'll take it. But yeah, he was the one that was like, you are the next person, so this is your chance, and show us what you got.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was like I said in the beginning. Without those guys, man, we wouldn't be where we are now, and I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Yeah, it must have been surreal playing in the final as a back center against Jaffrey's at the time, right? Where they were at their peak almost, right?
They were. Yeah.
And you were put into a position where, like, hey, kid, here you go. You're down $1 million, but try to give us something.
Yeah. No, luck. And I remember I took 1 point from a stain. It was like the finals was over.
The greatest thing in the
world. I'm like, it's done. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't care what the score is.
Yeah, exactly. Arifali, you are watching all of this. And when was your first tournament on Orlando Union? Did you play on the B team? Was that your first one in 2007 as well?
So actually 2005,
Mm-hmm.
you remember Crooms Academy.
Oh my God, yes. That like 5-team tournament that New York showed up to.
And LA came too.
LA, yeah, of all people.
LA came too.
It was our pink shirt tournament.
Pink shirt tournament, yeah.
That was the first tournament I played. It was a 5-team. It was a
6-team tournament.
tournament.
Yeah.
But that was the first one where I was on CT.
Oh, wow.
I was front center, I was back center.
Damn, I didn't know that.
And then 2006 is when we came to New York as the B team.
Yeah.
I was left, Hilal was front center. And then 2007, December, is when we played in that B pool.
In that B pool, right? When was the year that you guys brought a team to Oshawa in Toronto with Riyad's uncle? That was 2008.
That was 2008.
Right after the final in Champions, you guys bring a team with a bunch of youth, right?
Absolutely.
That was like the bridge between.
I think that was the bridge.
The older team going and the younger team coming in, and they wanted to be the bridge. So like that trip, Uncle Riaz took care of us. Like
like chaperone, 100%.
Yeah. Like he didn't get to go anywhere with his boys.
And how did I want to hear from JJ? How did that tournament go?
That tournament is a tournament that I know normally in your rapid fire you ask, what's the best tournament? For me, that tournament is never gonna get erased.
Yeah.
I got to play Faisal, Marhum Faisal at that time, which
was CD. Yeah, Britannia. Britannia was there.
That game that we played against Faisal. So, like you said in the beginning, I wear my heart on my sleeves.
Yeah.
It's a very good and bad thing.
Right.
We played a game against Faisal, and I think I took 1 point somehow, some way.
Okay.
The first initial reaction is like, you're not that good. You know what I mean? Like, my head is like, as big as it can possibly be.
Yeah, 100%.
I look up and he's smiling at me, and I'm like, okay.
He was smiling at you because you said come.
I gave him the, I look up, he's smiling at me. Someone, when I tell you that I played since I was 8, I've never been hit 17 balls at 970 miles an hour in my lifetime.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So bad that one ball was Riaz's ball, and I know he's gonna watch this podcast and I know he's gonna hear it.
Yeah.
That ball was his, and he left it, and I dove, and I looked up, and he's like, "This is what you get for talking." Figure it out. That tournament was that was the coming out party for.
That was the bridge, yeah, and it's funny because in 2014 Marhaba, I did something similar where I took a bunch of youth and I went to Allentown, and we didn't qualify. And people were like, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You have Mikey on the B team or the veterans team. You have Bodhi on the B team." But I knew that it had to be a bridge of some kind where now everyone can work together after this. And I think that's what it was for you guys. You fast forward to 2010, JJ, and you now have a new team filled with, again, the youth that you talked about, people like Ali Haji, right? Like, Hussein Karmali, like, and you do something special where you take, at that time, at least was special for Orlando because they had taken a little bit of a break, I think, after 08, which was take Allentown Challengers, who are at the top of their game, to 3 games in the quarterfinal. Absolutely. For you, that tournament, 2010, did you see around you that, okay, these kids got what it takes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the practices leading up to that tournament, there was something in the air during that time. Mm-hmm. I think it was the guys like Arifali, the guys like Hilal, the guys like KJ were like, we're now gonna show you that we can do something.
Right.
Yeah, that tournament to me, regardless of the win or the loss, that tournament to me was the one that I said, you know what? There's something here now.
Arifali, you are at some point in 2010, you're on the team, but there's also a level of like, there's 2 teams in Orlando, right? There was at that time Caber and then Orlando Union, and Orlando Union, almost it was a byproduct of the fact that a lot of guys who had gone to Caber, now you guys are getting your opportunity in 2010. You're getting your chance.
That's why we came up.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no doubt.
Right? Like when Caber started, what was it 2007?
Yeah, 2007.
Started in 2007.
Yeah,
that's when me, Hilal, Haji, KJ was in Caber.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
KJ, if I remember, was one on a pool game.
Yeah, until he lost the pool game. Yeah. That's
so when they started Caber, we stuck around. Mm-hmm. And that's when we got our opportunity to play.
Yeah.
Right.
We just took it. We stole it. Like
exactly. You stole it.
We didn't give it back to the adults. Like we just didn't let it go.
Right.
From that moment forward.
You come to 2010 with this team and do something special, but JJ, you are the captain of this team, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the time. And Arifali, you're known, I mean, you're a very like chill dude, like happy-go-lucky guy on the court, jumping around, blah, blah, blah. A lot of the guys are. And JJ is the more serious guy, right? And there were times where people could see him like just harping on you guys, just yelling, like, what was that experience like for you guys, under his wing almost, right? He's kind of bringing you up and telling you guys, okay, play your game. And how did you guys feel after that tournament? Like, okay, dude, we can do something special if we just keep this team together.
So the yelling portion, we were used to, not because of him.
Because of the guys before. Yeah.
Like you play with someone like Sammy and Uncle Riaz.
You're
gonna man up quick. like you have no choice.
Yeah.
But it helps. It helped us. It doesn't help this generation.
Everybody,
right? It doesn't help now, but it helped us at that time because we weren't taking stuff seriously and we should have because they were. Mm-hmm. But the yelling part, I think he did it for a couple of years and then he just expected it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't yelling. You just give you the look like.
Yeah. The look was even worse.
Not the time for
the
this.
Look was worse.
What are you doing? But for the most part, as like from a leader perspective, I think he handled it better than most would with the set of kids he had around.
Yeah.
We are somewhat jungly. Like we can get a little crazy in moments.
Yeah. You 2010, you do well, and that leads into 2011, where you guys get to Minnesota. That Minnesota tournament started with Jose in the back left, ended with Yusuf Juma in the back left. Jose in the semifinal that lasted 5 hours runs into a bleacher for a ball that probably made no difference. But nonetheless, great effort for a man that doesn't even play anymore. So sorry, Jose. At least you got new shiny teeth. Arifali, you are in 2011. You're in this tournament, and at any point, do you think, again, mind you, 2010, you just came off a quarterfinal against Challenge. At any point in your mind, and this is again, Imran Juraj now has come into the fold. There's no more Ali Haji anymore, right? Ali Haji scooted out, got the big tall guy coming in who's athletic, way more athletic. At any point during this tournament, did you really think that there was a chance to make the finals?
So, 1 second. 2010 was
Queens College.
2010 was also Cinderella story in Canada.
Right, and we're gonna go back.
But that was their tournament. I got told I'm going on Thursday.
Yeah. Yes.
He backed out. So that was the semis.
Yes.
And when we played that semis, we got confident.
Yeah.
He was always confident.
Yeah.
Right? We played with the adults.
Yeah, that's true.
When we played that one, we got confident. So when we went into 2011 with him, we were like, yo, we can do something.
Yeah.
Nothing about winning, right? Because we weren't like overly confident.
Right.
It was just like, all right, one more step, right? Exactly. Like, it's one more step, we'll get there. And we got to the finals.
And you got to the finals. Oh, JJ, you get to the finals with this team in 2011, and you discover Imran Juvraj. You know he's there. He's a part of this front line now with KJ and Hilal. At that point, did you realize the potential of this front line? Did you think that they could become what they are today?
Yeah, and I think that Imran Javraj, discovering Imran Javraj was very easy. I mean, when he walks in a room, you're like,
yeah, he's Imran Juvraj. Yeah.
He's here.
Yeah.
So discovering him was easy. I think it was getting him to take it serious was more of a challenge than getting him to hit the ball. Right. And I think he's been very open about him not being serious about it until yesterday, I think.
Yeah, yes. Yesterday was actually
yeah.
As long as his dad's around.
As long as
yeah, that's really serious.
Yeah, I think that tournament really showed us that we have something. There's something here in that front line for sure.
Going back 2010 Fab Five, we talk about it in the Mehdi Kako interview. Arifali, the Fab Five was you, Nadeem, Yusuf Juma, KJ, Hilal, and Wheezy. I pick you guys up from Allentown. We drive up to Toronto, and you play in a tournament knowing that you only have 5 players. Whatever happened that tournament happened, right? In terms of like you got on the court, you played some great games, you almost took Faisal down to the wire, all that stuff. But then Sunday happens. Yeah. And you wake up late and you get on the and Nadeem's calling and we're like 30 minutes late and you give game 1 to Reblo by disqualification.
Yeah.
And now you're versing Toronto East with 5. Yeah. And you have to win 2 straight. What was going through your mind?
So because of how crazy we were, we thought we were going to win. If
wow.
We were in the car, we were like, yo, imagine we pulled this off.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right?
I remember that.
When you get on the court, you're like, yo, these guys, they were angry. Like they were actually angry. They were like, very angry. And when someone's angry and you don't know why, like you didn't do it on purpose, you become angry.
Yeah.
We're angry. They're angry. It was a great first 10 minutes of the second game.
It was
chaos because they took 7-love lead.
Yeah.
We all ran to the net. Shanu stopped the game.
Yeah.
Like, everybody curses one more time. You're both gone. And then we played it out. We pulled that second one. That third one, we don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Nats caught fire.
Surreal.
Right? Nats caught fire on them. And then when we won that third game, it was just, we thought we won the tournament because everybody jumped on the court.
Yeah, it was nuts.
It was actually like we didn't even see each other, the 5 of us.
I mean,
once that game ended, it was swarmed, and then we saw each other like 30 minutes later.
I mean, you're playing handicapped with 5, then you're playing super handicapped with Yusuf Juma, then you're playing. No, I'm just kidding, Yusuf. Then you're versing Rebelo,
and
okay, and CD, okay. Yeah. And you guys just woke up 10 minutes before that, and I talked about it in the last interview. Bad breath, morning breath, and all. The fact that in the car, you guys were still wiping your pitchy off and telling me to go to Tim Hortons because you could care less if Reblo was upset, and you still pulled it off. A miracle like I've never seen before. The next round, let's not talk about it.
Yeah,
anyways,
it was quick.
It was very quick. 2011, you get to the finals, JJ, and now 2012, Lake Brantley is on the horizon. After reaching the finals in 2011, did you now think, you know what, we're ready and poised to win the championship?
Yeah, I think the only thing we were missing was the home crowd in 2011.
Push. Yeah, 2011 was loud.
That's true.
That home crowd is, and it shows in our record, right? That home crowd is
key.
It's very key. Real. Yeah.
You play in the round robin, JJ, and you're winning a lot of games, and you end up in a semifinal against Jaffrey's, who at that time, obviously, the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah.
In your mind, obviously, Stars and RKs are playing on the other side. But in your mind, are you thinking, let's just get past Jaffrey's and we can win it all?
Yeah, I think that was the only thing that you could think about. And, that tournament not only was our first win, but was our first time hosting without the adults' supervision, right? They let us really fun and do it ourselves.
Yes.
Myself, Arifali was there.
Yeah.
We got to do what we wanted pretty much, right? Mm-hmm. We had the first live draw happen at that time.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. So there was a lot of outside stuff going on. Yeah, I think Joffrey's at that point, the biggest hurdle is them.
And once you get past them, then it's all It's all, everything else is kind of like the same, right? Arifali, your first win. Tell me about it. What was it like when everyone stormed the court and it was just you were on top of the world?
You know, you can't like in the moment you're just confused.
You
You're
can't,
like,
yeah, you can't
what just
explain.
happened?
Yeah,
Like, why? How did this just happen?
yeah.
So I don't have words to say like of how it felt. It was amazing. That after we left the gym and now like it's settling in, we're like, yo,
Yeah.
we won,
Oh
and
my
we're running
God.
around the hotel with our medal.
Yeah.
That was the fun part. But it was like at the gym, you're just in
It's
celebration.
surreal.
You're
Yeah,
not thinking.
you're just in the moment. You're in the moment.
You're
Yeah,
you're not present. You're just
you're just
going crazy there
yeah, just going ham.
and celebrating with everyone. So nothing at the gym. Like I couldn't tell you how I felt at the gym, but after when everything settled down and we're eating that meal,
Was it a load off your shoulder in a sense that not that you had to prove anything, but I think almost like we did it. We brought one to Orlando. We told, you know, people trusted in us. They thought we were going to be the team. They pushed us to be that team. At any point in that time, Arifali, after you win, you're like, damn, we did this. Like we're the best.
yeah, I didn't think we were the best. We were good,
Uh-huh.
but you got to beat some teams a few times to
That's true.
Be the
consider the
best.
best, right? So
Fair enough.
we were definitely happy. We were confident in ourselves. I never really played with pressure, so I didn't feel any pressure. And like I really pawned off my pressure
Yeah.
to the guy on my left. Like it was his problem to deal with, not mine, which was amazing.
Yeah.
But yes, they felt the pressure.
I'm sure. I'm
Like
sure.
they definitely did. Yeah. I was
JJ, you take this team and after years of people thinking, is it gonna work? Is it really gonna work? Is it really gonna work? And you finally make it work. Not that anybody, which is your right to do this, but it's not like you walked out and said, "Yeah, I told you guys I would do it." But was there a feeling inside you like you were proud? You're like, "Damn, man, I did this. Like we did this."
I think, Sal, to say that we were happy is an understatement. To say that we are, we were on cloud nine was an understatement. But I think that win was not just the seven of us. That win was the whole community, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were there and you saw that finals, and it was vuvuzelas and I don't know what the heck, people were pounding drums, and it was Orlando community victory. But yeah, to be at the forefront of that it's a high that
it's like you almost when you relive it, you feel it again, right? It's one of those
like right now I'm like
you got goosebumps, right?
Goosebumps. Like right now I'm down. Yeah,
100%. In that tournament, New York's rivalry with Orlando took a little bit of a level up, right? I mean, it's always been there. And it took a little bit of a level up because of what transpired with the B team. Let's not get into it. The B team and the Orlando A game.
Oh yes,
yes. We'll leave that. Well, I'll tell you off air. Anyways, so that almost riled a lot of us up. And me being young, stupid, arrogant, I said a couple of things, and you didn't take any liking to it. And we met in New York in 2013, and it was almost like, damn, Sal is retarded for saying those things because Orlando's gonna destroy.
Yeah. Okay.
We ended up bursting each other. Obviously, it was a different team for you guys, right? You didn't have Imran Jaraj for the entirety of the tournament. I mean, he was there, but he was not a part of the team directly because he was out of town. You end up putting him into the quarterfinal against us, too little, too late, and we end up beating you guys. When you take that L, JJ, do you almost feel like, and thank you, by the way, for giving me one. I know you've beaten me many times, and you gave me that one, so I'll take that as a gift. When you lose that one, is it almost like a letdown, or is it like it's all good, we're going to get right back up and we're going to do this all over again?
I think one thing about our team is we won together and we lost together.
Mm-hmm.
So for me to sit here and say I took it like defeatingly, no, I would say if anything it brought us a little bit closer.
Yeah, I take it.
All right. Yeah. This is this is what it feels like to be high. And now what it feels like to be low.
Yeah.
You damn sure ain't going back to low. So I think that brought us, at the end of that tournament, we were outside.
Because we lost back-to-back quarters, San Antonio and then New York.
Yeah.
We were outside that tournament. It was like, we don't ever want to feel like this again.
Yeah, especially being champions, right? And getting out in the quarters. On top of that, you lose in a final, fine. Someone got the better of you that day. But you get out in the quarters, it's almost like the expectation is there now. The pressure is there now. People expect this. The Orlando community is one of those communities that, man, like you can't come back without gold. Like, you got to bring us something.
Live it down, man.
Yeah, they don't let you live it down. And so there's a level, I'm sure, that was like, damn. And to be honest, it's funny because throughout any dynasty, which to be honest, the 2010 to 2020 decade was the Orlando Dynasty, right? Throughout any dynasty, you're going to have some big losses. I mean, look at Stars, right? They've had some random losses. Jaffrey's have random losses. It's one of those things. North has some random losses. And those were one of those random losses. But that also was a loss that segued into the V. And that V was now JJ's coming out of center and playing a role for the team. And Arifali, you are now being put in the forefront of sharing third balls with JJ and part of the game plan. When the V first started, Arifali, that was 2013 Al Wahda, if I'm not mistaken, when you first played the V. Did you think it was going to work? And was there excitement on your end? Like, okay, now I get to showcase my talent.
Yeah, now it's like practice, because in practice I was getting third balls.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now finally in tournament they gave me permission to get
yeah.
Yeah, I was excited, a little nervous because
I'm sure.
someone like him, if he sacrifices that little
big
bit,
sacrifice,
you better
take advantage
of it and do well. Because if you don't,
yeah, you get
like he will come after you. So there was a little bit of pressure, but also very supportive, like extremely supportive on his side. Like I put the pressure on myself. He didn't put the pressure on me, right? Like I put it on myself. Like he's like, bro, it's just don't worry, do your thing. You can do it. You do it in practice. It's the same thing. Just swing. You'll be fine. And he made it a lot easier.
When you play the 2013 Al Wahda, I believe you lose in the semifinals against Arcase.
Yeah. Yep.
That also, again, a loss that people were expecting you guys to be in the finals, right? And that's 3 straight tournaments that didn't really pan out for you guys. Does anybody at that time, JJ, come to you and tell you, why are you playing the V? You're sacrificing too much. You're still a good center. Go back to playing center.
I think, yeah, of course you have the people that say what they want to say. And for some reason, those people are guys that haven't won. Still have that disease till today. But yeah, there is a lot of noise, obviously. But I think one thing that I think that anybody that plays on our A team or with me, whether it's in practice or anything else, it's not about me. It's not about me playing back center. Right. Even when we played 2011 or 12 when we won, we didn't win because my third ball won us the game. Like, we won because we were a unit. And I think that's what really set us apart from all other teams. I think we were the first ones to show you guys that, it's not just one person.
It takes a team.
It takes a village to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there were people that talked, said what they wanted to say. I think, again, another loss just brought us a little bit tighter and said, you know what? We're going to do this V and we're going to ride this thing until it gets the results that we want.
In 2012, which was 10 years ago when you guys won your first one, you're 27 years old, right? So you're like prime JJ at this time, right? Like getting into your prime, not even. Yeah. And you had an amazing tournament in 2012. And you were one of the better centers, if not the best center at that time in the game, right? People were revering you like that. They were talking about you like that. To give that up directly a couple of tournaments after and be like, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice for other people. That's a huge sacrifice. I remember when I had to sacrifice third balls with Z. I mean, it was so hard for me to fathom that a netty of all people, not even another player, is going to get third balls. So I'm sure it was difficult for you, but you wrote it out until 2014. And in 2014, Marhaba, we played with the balloon ball, right? And you guys we're playing in Allentown. So you're back home, right? It's like hometown. And the hometown boy comes back. And 2014, you stick with the V, and Maz is in the back center, and you guys are on the corners, and you do the Toronto sweep, right? You lose the first game in the quarterfinal against Stars, I believe 21-1.
15-1.
15-1. There you go. Yeah. And it's like, what just happened? And then from then on, there was no turning back. After you lose that first game, JJ, to stars, are you sitting there thinking, God damn, fourth tournament in a row now that this V is not working?
So I give that championship trophy to none other than my friend Rob, because after that game, Rob decided that he was gonna go and tell somebody, "Oh, they're done. I beat them 21, game 1."
Oh my God!
And I just happened to be at the right place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
And I believe the second game we beat him game 1.
Yeah, you did. Game 2, right back to it.
Right. And then, the wheels were now turning, I think, at that point. Yeah. But that win, he should take that trophy.
That's another one for you, Durab, in the books. Ari, you guys go to the final, and that final comes down to the last point. You played a huge role in that final. I mean, you were on fire in that final. You were taking points left, right, and center. And again, the V was at the forefront. Could it work? Could it work? It's a fourth tournament now. Is it going to work? And it worked. What was that victory like? Almost like 2 years later. 2 years later, 2 years removed, 4 tournaments after, now playing a V, a totally different dynamic on the team, and you win. Again, and again, winning away from home, huh? So that's a huge thing.
And that was a war. That the whole quarters, semis, finals, like every series was 3 games. All teams were tough teams. And Jaffrey's, when you play Jaffrey's, it's time to play volleyball. Like, they don't care about the court size, the ball, the lighting. They're there to play. They'll adjust. You have to adjust.
Exactly.
There's no excuses at that point. And they came all in. We went in all in. And the last 10 seconds of that game was chaos.
Yeah, honestly, when I rewatch it, I'm just like thinking, what are those guys on the court thinking? Because my heart is just like racing. I'm like, dude, for him. Sorry?
We were down by 3 with a minute to go.
Yeah, and it's like,
right, you know what?
Yeah,
we did our best.
We did. Yeah, and it's like,
last time out, he's like, it's not over, man. Like, he riled us back up, and then we took 3 points. Took the 4th point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have a lead, but they had served.
Yeah,
it was just that last ball Kizzer hit.
And it's a ballsy move, right, to go for it, but it's all or nothing at that point, right? I don't think anybody wanted
before as well. Like, it's worked for him and it's worked against him.
Exactly.
It's a toss.
You got to do it every single time.
Like, exactly, 100%. You guys, JJ, 2015, after winning 2014, you guys get to, I believe there was a Lake Helen tournament, and you guys get to the finals there. You guys win against Ahmad Somar and Allentown Union. Ahmad Somar won MVP. It was a great tournament for him. They were down to 5 at the end because Asim went down. And so you guys take that one, and it almost feels like, okay, the vibe is back. Orlando's back on top. Dynasty in the making, going 3 titles in. 2015 comes around, and you guys make the finals against Jaffrey's. And you go down in that finals, and it's almost like, okay, it's fine.
New
York. It's like, okay, it's fine. You got to the finals. It's all good, But then 2016, you play in Minnesota, and you lose in the quarterfinals against 786. Tell me about, so you got sick that time in Minnesota because you went to Chicago and someone fed you some stuff, and you were unable to play it throughout the tournament. I think only the last day is when you showed up or something, right?
No, so I played the first day, and
he left halfway through.
I had a trash can next to me because as we're playing, I'm throwing up.
Oh my god!
And you said Maz before this, and I Maz is a guy that I love to death.
Yeah.
That the best guy you can have on your team is Maz, but the worst guy you can go to a restaurant with is because that day we ate eggs, nihari, fried chicken,
right?
Iman,
some fish, paka, everything you can imagine. And so that got the best of me for sure.
2016, Ari, when you see 786 take you down in that quarterfinal, surreal moment, 8 seed taking down a 1 seed.
It was shocking.
Could you believe it when it was happening?
It was just like, well, what just happened? Like, how did we just lose to this guy? It was like they won by a point.
They won by a point.
right? It's just like you look across and you're like, wow.
Like, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like these guys got you today.
100%.
So it's more of like a, hey, don't take anybody easy. Like everyone
Exactly.
has to play, and if you play a team, and that's where I learned, like when you play against a team that has nothing to lose, play them seriously.
It's the worst, man.
They will come out swinging, and that man
never.
came out swinging.
Never Zaral, man. And he had the confidence to call it the night before. He said he was going to come there and beat you. Now, obviously, everyone at that point.
He's a confident dude.
Exactly. And having to know that Orlando is the top, right? They're the cream of the crop, the top of the heap. They're the best. And everyone now has a target on you guys. They want to beat you. They look forward to beating you. If any quarterfinal was going to be a quarterfinal for an 8 seed, they want it to be against Orlando because they're like, all right, if we're going to go out, we're going to go down losing to the best. You lose in the quarterfinals there. You also lose in the quarterfinals in Arcades. And that Arcade tournament, you lose to Minnesota.
Yeah.
In Imran Walji's last point in the third game. So it's always coming down to the last point, it seems like. And he had Altaza at that time. Arifali, you became the captain in 2015 after New York. Did you, when you're losing these quarters now, was there everyone at a point that people looking at you like, bro, you came in as captains, you took over captainship, but we haven't gone anywhere?
So I'll explain to you how this used to work.
Mm-hmm.
You're the captain of the club.
Yes.
I wasn't the captain of the team. Not because they demanded, give us captainship or anything like that. It was more of, I was never paying attention what you guys do in tournaments because I was never there in timeouts.
Right.
I'd disappear. So I need to watch you guys, what happens, like what does a captain need to do in a tournament? Exactly. Like a grounds captain. Exactly. So Minnesota, I wasn't grounds captain. And we never blamed a captain because if you ever sat in our timeouts, you'd think everyone's a captain. Yeah. Like we were a unit. So like everyone spoke. Right. And everyone's opinion mattered. Even the people from the outside. Like, they're like not outside, but like that weren't on the team, they would come. Yeah. We had advisors, right? Where we had Johnny Uncle, we had Riaz Uncle, we had T, we have Yusuf. Yes. Right? We have advisors on our team. Yeah, that's true. They would all speak. So you don't know who's captain if you walk into our timeout. Yeah. So I don't think we ever gave anyone the opportunity to blame a person, like, because there was no type.
Was there pressure on you at the time? Like, damn, I gotta lead this team, even though you weren't the grounds captain, still the club captain, putting a team together. We'd win. So you knew it was coming. It was just one of those things where there was going to be a down period for a little bit of time.
You gotta take hits and then
exactly. At this point, look, every 5 years, there's going to be a youth that comes up and you got to add him to the fold. And that's when MZ walks through the door, bandana and all, right? Yeah. And you put him onto the A team, deservingly so. One of the best centers coming up at that time in the game, made his mark on the Orlando B team. What did you think his role was going to be? Because Maz was filling that back center role. And then all of a sudden now there's a young guy who can play back center and actually can do some damage. Was he just going to walk in and fill Maz's role? Was that the plan all along?
So it was that plus a bonus because he could also hit the ball.
Exactly.
Like effectively.
Exactly.
So now you have the netty have an ease. Just throw the ball in the air.
Anywhere.
We'll figure it out.
Right.
Because we weren't greedy for third balls. That's like, I don't know if people understand that. When it came to us playing a V, there was no like, well, why is he getting 3 more than I am?
Right. Like, naturally, like people would think that. Yeah, people thought that.
Right? Like it was never like
counting. Yeah.
You got some, I got some. It was whatever. But
evened out.
Whoever caught heat,
just feed him.
Like they're like, yo, swing the ball that way. Like whoever's caught heat, but that doesn't mean it's 90% that way.
Yeah. Right.
You'd get 10% more.
Exactly.
Right? Just to catch your heat.
Exactly.
So we didn't, like, we just thought like, all right, cool, like another hitter.
Yeah, and it was just gonna work. And
well, he can hit the ball. Let him do his thing.
Yeah. And 2016 Sunshine comes along, and now you're a couple of tournaments in as a captain, and you take a sacrifice, right? You play third most of that tournament, and you come in towards the end and play, but you play third most of that tournament, and you get to the semifinal, and it's against New York Union after we stole the quarterfinals from Stars. And we get to play you in the morning. Now we know Yasser's gone. Yasser the night before had a flight for Sunday. thinking we weren't going to make it. We made it. We told Yasser we'd pay him $500 to stay for his ticket and to stay. And he said, why would I stay to lose 2 straight? And we're up 10-1 the first game. And I'm turning around thinking, yo, guys, text Yasser because we're about to beat the shit out of Orlando Union. And Arifali comes into the game. Imran Jarraj comes into front center. JJ goes here, and this guy goes there. And Hilal is out. Hilal's in. And lo and behold, Orlando Union wins game 1, 11-10. The second game, I don't even think I played. I don't even remember it. It was a nightmare. I move on. But you get to the finals that year, which was an epic final that started in game 1, which is another chapter in the rivalry with Jaffrey's. Game 1, where Imran Jarraj hits a ball that looks like the whole world saw it go out, except the linesman, right? Everyone there saw it land in. All of us that were watching on TV, because, you know, we were like, while watching it on YouTube, we're like, dude, he hit the ball out. And he actually hit the ball. And it takes gall to do that, right? After that first win, Arifali, did you think, finally, here we go. We're going to win this one. 2016, we're back on top.
No. After that first game?
Yeah.
No. Yo, Jaffrey's never. Till that whistle blows at the end and up by 5. Never.
Winning that one at the end of it all, was it almost an accomplishment for you as a captain? Like, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. When we won that one at home, that was an amazing one. That was my favorite. That was my favorite win, actually. Because also the team. Like, that was my favorite unit.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. And a lot of you guys were interchangeable, and you guys were taking sacrifices, coming out. Hilal was out some games. JJ was out some games. Like MZ went front left, I think, at one point. Like, it was crazy. Like, people were doing things just to win.
Yeah, no one cared where they played.
The ultimate sacrifice, I think, for all.
That was just that tournament.
JJ, shortly after that, your father passes away. Bhojani uncle passes away, and you play one more tournament in Dubai. And then after that, you go into something I like to call semi-retirement, right? You walk away from the game, you take a break. And naturally, a lot of people, I think, at that time would do so. Was there a reason you took the break? You know, was it because, you know, Marhum Johnny Uncle passed away? Was it just like, you know what, I won in 2016. I'm good. I got my trophy. Like, I'm just going to walk away for a little bit and then, you know, maybe come back. Or did you think that's it? I'm walking away. I'm done.
So I think the semi-retirement thing was just, me just saying, I need some time to process.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the best way I can put it. Did I think I was going to walk away forever? No, because it runs deep, man.
Yeah.
The passion isn't just to play. The passion is to be there and, you know, be amongst everybody, whether A, B, C, D, whatever.
Yeah.
Going to the tournaments, that passion is never going to die. But yeah, taking a break was, you know, mentally is what I needed for sure.
What did your dad passing away take a toll on that?
Yeah, of course, right? Like, he was the light for me.
Yeah.
So yeah.
When you I think me and you have talked about this. Me and Arifali, a lot of us older guys now in the game have talked about this. We don't want to hold on to something for too long, where the dignity starts to go away from our peers, right? Yeah. At this point, it's 2017. You know, you're still in your prime, right? 32, 33. Like, you're not going away.
Yeah.
Was the passion running out?
I don't think the passion was running out. I think that the passion needed a break. I think I also needed to make sure that the passion was still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you have to walk away from something to see how much you actually really
miss it. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. I agree. Ari, 2018 comes around and we all get a taste of something. It's a sickness. I think it's called lambada, right? And you guys go to New York in an epic semifinal where no one saw what was coming. No one. I could promise you no one saw it.
It happened and we still didn't see it.
Yeah. In that tournament, there were some positives. The come up of Orlando Youth, which you played a vital role in. You would hold practices as a captain, bring these kids up, spend your Sunday mornings, if I believe it was Sunday morning or Sunday afternoons. Yeah, you would spend that Sunday training these kids. And today, these kids are super appreciative of what you do, what you've done. and where how far they've come along in their game. And I feel like you played a big role in that. You deserve all the credit in the world.
Oh, it was also Ali Razmaneke.
And Ali was amazing.
He was there every week as well.
He was there. I remember he was actually sending us the videos of it.
Yeah.
And at that time we saw Ali Mahdi playing back center and this, you know what I'm saying? Like it was cool. Like
the whole team's rotated if you look at it from then to now.
Yeah.
Like people you thought would never be good, they're amazing.
I mean, yeah, and the guys who were good play golf. You know, I'm like, but you played a huge role in that. In that tournament, the New York youth and the Orlando youth played, I think, some sort of main event spectacle thing right beforehand, and it was super cool to watch. And I know.
So you guys had pools or like a premiership?
No. Yeah. We had pools to start, and then those pools turned into, it was like 5 pools that turned into 2 pools.
Well, what was like the main one? There was a main pool, like
I forgot the name of the main pool.
Right, and then there was a secondary pool.
Secondary pool, yeah, there was, yeah.
Not plate, but like you
call it. Yeah.
And neither of them had made it. The New York kids or the Orlando kids.
Yeah,
it was like 2 completely other teams, and we requested those teams like, hey, instead of you guys playing in the finals of this, we give the buys to everybody so the kids can play.
Yeah.
And I think Benny Ali Kamalia was the captain of the team, and someone else, I can't remember the other guy. And they're like, if it's for the kids, we're out. We won't play anymore. Let the kids go and play that finals on that main court that you guys had set up.
Yeah. And you guys, you were behind your youth, and then I was behind our youth, and we were going at it, and it was great because that was the future of volleyball. It was amazing to see in 2018. But again, you go to the semifinal and you take that L. Tough L to take, or was it like, man, we got Lambada, it's all good?
We got Lambada.
Never.
I mean, it shocked us. Not that I'm saying he won't do it again. I'm just saying, like, in that moment. It was a shock. It shocked us. Yeah. Like, he just like, well,
yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Essentially, in the past 3 days, we didn't get to see this, right? Like, no, North played it smart. They hit him till it was time.
Yeah.
When it was time, he came out swinging, and we tried our best to hold him down. And I think we did a fairly good job.
You did. Game 3.
In 3 games.
Yeah.
To the last minute.
To the wire. Yeah.
So.
At that point, was your captainship truly tested? Because I think everyone played everywhere in those 3 games. I mean, it was
like KJ is one guy. He's my favorite. But he plays one place.
That's it. That's
his home.
He moved, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what should have
started going across the front line like this. I was like, yo, this is now getting chaos.
Yeah.
Like, what we're doing here, but
100%. You got to pull out all the stops, man. That was the final. Essentially, that was the final, because the final, again, I don't think it really happened. The JJU, in the midst of all this, are starting to play for fun.
Yeah.
With a team called King City, which was a bunch of your relatives. And then I believe, the pandemic happened, and you played for Dubai, right? So you're still in the game.
Yeah.
But you're not with Orlando Union. What were those experiences like? Because mind you, you're a champion, you're a winner.
Yeah.
And now you have to play for fun.
Yeah.
While competitively, but still for fun.
Yeah.
That 2018 King City experience, were you just like, what am I doing here?
No, the King City experience was something that my cousins and I have been talking about for a long time. Mm-hmm. Obviously, being with Orlando in whatever we were, it was not possible.
Right.
Me stepping away after Dubai's tournament opened the door for this possibility. Mm-hmm. Would I do it again? No, but it was great at that time. We had a great time. It was fun. There were some times where I'm kind of like, why am I here? Of course. Yeah. I think we didn't make it the second day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you didn't.
Semifinals are going on, and me and Nadim are shopping at the mall, and I'm like, this is not. But I think that was when I was like, no, the fire's not out.
Yeah, exactly. Your competitive nature is just naturally going to be there, right? In 2019, you guys get to the finals. You do pretty well. I mean, it was a shortened tournament, obviously, with the passing of Shamash, and you guys don't know who you played in the quarters, but I believe the semifinal elite. You played the semifinal against Minnesota, close games in which you guys had leads, they came all the way back. Arifali, you come in the middle. It was like, what I'm saying? Like you took over and you brought the team back and you won those games. I don't want to say single-handedly, but you were taking over. Like it was your time. And they, Atlanta Union uses that change once in a while where they're like, hey, Arifali, you feel like playing back center today? All right, cool. Just come. And you get your chance and you obviously played lights out in that semifinal. But, that's the time Freddie gets an opportunity. Alias Alu gets an opportunity. Hassan Manakia cramps up, and Saifali is the first time playing with your team, is playing solo. Freddie goes into the net. I mean, a lot of things were happening at that time, and it was like
crazy.
It was crazy, and you were bringing in youth, and you were incorporating new people. And after, obviously, JJ walks away, you have to now bring in pieces, right? MZ kind of took a break. You'd start bringing in pieces to fill in these voids. And it's going to take some time for them to get used to the way of the game plan of Orlando Union. That final, you guys do something you've never done. You play 4 in the front. I mean, it happened very quickly. And, that was true testament to Jaffrey's and how well they played that tournament. But at some point, were you just like in that final, like, what is happening? I can't believe we're getting demolished.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was very confused of why we were playing so bad. Like all of us as a unit. Like we just forgot how to play.
Was that the hardest loss you've taken?
Yeah, probably.
What was the team's demeanor like post that tournament?
I don't think we were too upset about it after. We laughed it off as of how fast it was.
Yeah.
We definitely sat down. We're like, yo, this can't happen.
Right.
Like this isn't supposed to happen this way.
Do you think the additions of the youth and obviously Hassan Manakia going down, all that I'm sure played a factor?
I think the youths were fine because they played amazing.
They did. Freddie came into the semifinal and played amazing.
All right. So like they did their job great. I think it was just more of another sticker shock of Nick and Akhtar. Just now you have Nick Akhtar and kids are swinging at you, and Munna played amazing that tournament.
Yes,
I know Nick and Akhtar take the cake because of their flashy, but Munna made us like we were all over the place because of
yeah.
And I mean, it was a tough loss, but I don't think we take losses. We've lost so many times that at this point, it's just like,
it's like, on to the next one.
Okay, next time, let's not do that.
On to the next one, yeah. The pandemic hits, and we talk about this again. We met during the pandemic a bunch of times, and we talked about, a lot of things transpired in that 2019 tournament. And I think that we thought our role, as, again, veterans now, tenured in this game, 10 years plus, we should be doing things to make this game more positive. We have to take out all this toxicity, that the word that we like to use, famous word we like to use, and turn it into a positive. Love, passion, brotherhood, all that, community, because volleyball is that.
All right.
Arifali, you and I talked about this in length many times. What do you think the pandemic meant for the sport? Because it gave us a break from one another, which, to be honest, like JJ said, sometimes when you leave something or something's gone, you realize what you're missing, right? What do you think the pandemic meant to the sport? And what do you think we need to do to continue to grow this sport in a positive way?
So as for the pandemic, I think it was a good break for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because volleyball it gets to you.
Yeah.
Like when you're very involved, like the talking, the playing, there's a lot of chaos that comes with the sport.
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like, yo, this is just a part of my life. Like it should be just a part of your life. It shouldn't be your life. You shouldn't let it take over that much, but it consumes you, right? Because we get so passionate, we can't control it. Like we will do whatever it takes to overcome the obstacle. But the pandemic was, I think, amazing for the sport in itself. I myself didn't see myself coming back from the pandemic because I was very happy playing golf.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And ended up happening that way.
Yes.
So like, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
But yeah, I think the pandemic was great for the sport. It gave everybody breathing room to miss it and to see it from a different light. Like, hey, when we come back into it, let's do it this way this time.
Yeah.
We've made the mistakes.
Yeah.
We've done these things.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take all that, put it aside, apologize to everybody, and move forward.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what it was. JJ, you are a guy who's been in this game through multiple generations, more so than me and Arifali have, right? We kind of grew up in the same generation. You grew up in multiple generations, and you're still around. The likes of Chiku, Mikey no longer play this game at a level that you play at or are in the game as much as you are.
Right.
You were in the times of which volleyball was super like in your face, loud, explicit. I'm going to, mess you up, blah, 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 for lack of a better word. And then you came into a time where things got a little bit tamed, but still there was, obviously we saw what happened right before the pandemic, to now where you see a lot more camaraderie and brotherhood and understanding and love. What do you think we can improve on, number one? And what should we be doing to continue to grow the sport? Like this, for example, sitting down, or even just, when we go to tournaments, right? Talking to other people that we never really talked to because maybe we were never approachable.
Yeah. I think going back to my dad when he was around and when he was telling us about tournaments, and I'm sure Arifali can agree, we used to have meetings in our garage, and my dad always used to be like, these tournaments are not just about hitting a ball as hard as you can. These tournaments are about lifelong brotherhoods that you're going to build with people. And we're all sitting here today because of this one thing. And we all know each other so well because of this one thing. I think that moving forward, what you guys have done as far as this podcasting, as far as being more approachable, is amazing. I think as far as opening up to the Ismailis or whoever else is a huge step forward.
Yeah.
Which I know was a lot, even here we faced it a lot. It was a big thing. But I think, the younger guys like you guys doing this is you're definitely paving the way for the next generation to be able to, take this hopefully to the next level after this.
Right, exactly.
But I think it's important what you guys are doing. I think it's great. I think, yeah, you can see the shift in attitudes from everybody, even from my old generation, the guys that were before who don't play, their attitudes also have changed.
Yeah.
The younger guys below us, below you guys, their attitude is changing.
Right.
That is priceless, man, because that's what's going to keep us going.
No doubt about it. I talk about being young and arrogant and almost so engulfed in the game that I started to create enemies. I talk about this a lot, and I talked about this in this podcast where I, in 2013, thought I was the shit, and I think because of that and the aura I put out, people didn't approach me. They thought I was some type of way, and I wasn't that guy, right? And I think for me later on, obviously in your life when you're older, and at that time I was 20 years old, 21 years old. When you get older, you realize there's a lot of kids watching you, and those kids that are watching you, man, they think of you as a role model in the game. But when they see you walk off that court and do something or act a certain way, even on that court, they're going to take to that. They're going to be like, wait a second, if he could do it, I could do it, right? And I think there was a level of myself that, and I can only talk about myself, but I created riffs with JJ. I created riffs with Arifali, stemming from volleyball. Like, it's not like me and you guys had personal problems. Yeah. We would, when we saw each other, would be fine, right? But the volleyball aspect would almost consume us in a way where we would automatically create beef, even if there wasn't. Just because you play for Orlando Union and I play for New York Union. I don't want to see you beat me and I want to beat you and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I think the pandemic, what it taught me at least was, damn, do I miss seeing JJ on the court? Damn, do I miss seeing Arifali on the court? And then I got to talking to you guys in a different way because there was no volleyball.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to you like friends, right? Like for guys I grew up with. And it's like, damn, I actually get along more with these guys than I think I do. Yeah. And we were able to bury hatchets and put things aside. And I think moving forward, I think the respect for one another and the love for one another. And I feel like when I see JJ play today, you asked me 10 years ago, I'd be like, yo, I hope he hits that third ball in net. You ask me now and he hits a bop third ball, I'm the first one jumping. Like, it's because I'm like, damn, bro, the guy's still doing it at this age. When I see Arifali serving lights out, he's our serviceman on the A team, and I see him serving lights out. Back in the day, I'd be like, yeah, he's all right. You know what I'm saying? Even though I knew you were damn good. But now I'm like, yo, this guy on one knee, you know what I'm saying? Like, damn, he's serving the ball like this. Like, bro, I just love it. And it's like, my mentality changed. I'm sure a lot of people, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we see it in guys like Durab, right? We see it, like, I think, with us. Just love, man. Just love. Just pour out that love and that brotherhood. And I think that it's going to take us a long way.
I think the wanting to beat people is still cool. I think it brings the game.
100%.
It brings you up, brings me up, brings him up. Everybody's levels up. I think now what we're learning is what happens out of that 34 by 34 box. After that, it shouldn't carry over, right? I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's still cool that, you know, we can still yell at each other at practice and bring out the best in you and you bring out the best in me and vice versa. And I think that's needed. I don't think that should stop.
That's competition.
Like, yeah, when the lines get blurred, that's when it gets a little bit scary.
100%. I think you guys played a huge role in my career, and I'd like to think I played a decently small role in your careers where if I'm up your ass, you're going to want me to make sure that you're better than me, right? And the same thing, if I see you guys succeeding, I'm going to want to get there, right? So I think, you know, we played off each other, and that competitive nature was unlike any other. And we'll touch on that in a bit in the rapid fire, which you guys don't know about, so it's bop. JJ 2022, the return of JJ and Stanmore with Dubai. Played really well, and people thought, why is JJ coming? You know, he's like 4 years past, you know, he hasn't played in 4 years. Well, you know, what are we really going to see? He's 37 years old, and you still had something left in the tank. After that tournament, were you like, all right, I can hang?
I think that tournament to me was Akil, Ali Kimji. It was just me and my friends on a trip to London. And whatever happened on volleyball happened. You know, for me, it was just a hangout. The game that I think really made me wake up was a game against Joffrey's.
Yeah, I remember that game.
It was actually one ball that I hit, and I turned around, and you were there, and you're like, damn, old man, you still have it.
Yeah.
When you said that in my head, I'm like, first of all, I ain't that old.
Yeah.
And second, yeah, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe there's still something left here.
Yeah.
All those tournaments that I did outside of Orlando Union just made me realize how much I missed being in this home.
Yeah, home is it.
For sure.
Home is it.
Yep.
Ari, in the midst of all this, you suffer an injury that a lot of us have had, not to this extent. I haven't had to have surgery, but I've torn cartilage, ACL, MCL, anything you think of. My knees are shot, and you had to go in for surgery. Tell me about when that occurred, how that occurred, and what was your thought process in terms of volleyball when this was all happening?
So we're playing outdoor.
Mm-hmm.
I jumped up, landed. I went one way, my knee went the other. And on my way down, like as soon as my foot hit the ground, like I could hear the snap, crackle, and pop. And I was like,
oh my God.
Worst pain, 15 minutes straight screaming.
What?
And then I got up, and then I had people tell me, your kneecap probably moved and then moved back into place. So I was like, all right, cool. Happy.
Oh, all right, cool. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. And then I go home, and my wife makes me go to ER.
Yeah, nurse. Yeah.
Right. So I go to ER. They're like, your bones are fine, but you'll need to get an MRI. I'm like, okay. It's like 3 a.m. Go home, 6 a.m. The pain wakes me up. I'm like, something's wrong. Like, this can't be this bad. So that's when the adrenaline now.
It's starting to wear off.
I got an MRI. But first I went to the doctor before the MRI, moved it around a little. He's like, you should be fine, just rehab, you'll be okay. But get your MRI. I went and got my MRI, came back. He's like, bro, you tore your ACL in half. Like, you have to get surgery. Wow. Like, you have no choice.
Okay.
Like, all right, sign me up. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what I was signing up for when he said you have to get surgery. I just thought, like, all right, surgery.
Yeah. How bad could it be?
How bad could it be? It's bad. It's like it's a journey. Like, it's really a journey when you get surgery, an ACL surgery. And alhamdulillah, like, it's healing well. Rehabbing it. It's tough. Tough that you can't play, but I don't miss it like I thought I would. Yeah. I'm happy with being just around. Yeah. I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
The golf part sucks a little bit.
Yeah, that's
I'm able to play golf.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I'm getting back into it now.
But I got
4 more months left.
I saw you pre and post your surgery, and it was not easy for you. Like, you were going through it, like in terms of like pain and struggling, and in terms of rehabbing, and you were working hard to get back as soon as you could. And
oh yeah. No, the pain was like I think the first 2-3 months maybe, like post surgery after March, it was just chaos. And Ramzan fell into the middle of that. Like, it was tough.
That's
Crutches.
tough. Yeah.
It was a lot tougher than I thought it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And I mean, I got through it. So
when are you expecting to be okay to play?
So volleyball wise, my ortho told me March is when he'll reevaluate me to get cleared. He's like, it should be March in his opinion, because it should not be more than a year for recovery.
Right.
But so in March I go back to see if I can still.
At any part, was there any part of you during your injury that you were like, post, obviously not in the moment, but post, sitting there like, damn, like I'm gonna be out a year, man. Like that means no volleyball for me, no golf for me. Like at that time, not now, because now you've made peace with it, right? But
yeah, no, in the moment that I felt like, and I'm on the ground for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
After I calmed down, the first thought was, I have a tea time Sunday. I don't want to miss it. This was Tuesday. So I was like, I have 3-4 days to heal this, not knowing what it is.
Fair enough. I think a lot of
weren't playing volleyball indoor at that time.
Yeah, you're right.
Much,
yeah. We ended up, actually, to be honest, that's another reason we had gotten, all the volleyball guys started playing golf. And so we were, during the pandemic, we were just all hanging out. It felt like nothing was missing, right? Like, it was
because we had another sport.
Yeah, it was like, okay, we're just gonna do what we do there.
And
but
it's
now
longer to play, so we were just
we can baraza while we play. Like, you know what I'm saying? Before, volleyball is like, yo, 12 hours of playing, and then I'll see you after at lunch or this, that, or I'll see you at night and we'll baraza for 3 hours. This is, you get to baraza for 4 hours straight and play a sport. It was the greatest thing. I think volleyball players seeing golf is like stars in their eyes. Obviously, you, JJ, coming back, working towards playing on the team again. A lot of people were shocked to see you come back. They knew that you had something left in the tank because they saw you in Stanmore, but they were like, was he going to come back? Is he not? People were murmuring after, talking afterwards, like, oh my God, is he going to come? Is he not? And then you do show up. You show up to practice and you start playing. And I remember playing with you the first few practices. I think I was lost. You were lost a little bit because I was coming in from New York and I was like, holy shit, this is so fast. I can't take it. And you were like, oh man, I haven't played in like 16 years. So like, what's going to happen? And then slowly you start to see the old JJ come back, right? Like you're catching your swing and you're playing and you're into it. And again, the emotions back on the sleeve and like you're JJ again. Did you feel like you were reinvigorated? Like the passion came back?
Yeah, absolutely. I think during the pandemic, watching YouTube videos, helped light the fire. Coming back into it, the first couple of weeks, I was kind of like, maybe not. And then, once you get back into it, man, it's like riding a bike, right? And then we go to Edmonton. I get a chance to play, which was, amazing to play with those guys.
Yeah.
Rob, Irfan, Jabir, wow. That's all I can say.
Wow.
But that tournament to me really solidified that I can still somewhat hang.
Edmonton for you, JJ, I think was a time where I think people were all watching to see can you hang. It wasn't like only for you. I think for a lot of people we're like, okay, let's see if he could really do it. And I think you were thrown into like the fire almost, where like you're versing Minnesota in the final and you're just returning the ball and returning the ball and returning the ball. And people are like, holy, like, yo, this guy still got it. Like, I think you're right. I think that tournament was like, okay, he's going to come back and he's going to want to play a big role. That role ended up being on the B team, which you play a huge role on the B team as a leader, as a veteran, and as a player. What are your expectations of the B team, which we all know it's filled with champions, has more rings than a lot of people can even think of? And what is your role on this team?
So my expectations for our B team is high. Like you said, we have a lot of talent. You have MZ, you have me, you have Maj, you have Assam. You have Anu, you have.
This would be an A team anywhere else.
Yeah, I mean, the practices have been great. I think we've been able to really, hone in, which has been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So my expectations are, high, bro. I think they're, I'm not going to give you a number, but it's
but it's up there, right? You're a winner, so you're expecting a lot.
That's the goal, yeah, for
sure. What is your role on this team? You think, obviously a mix of youth and a mix of veterans, guys who are expecting to win, guys who haven't really won much. So, what do you think you play? Are you that bridge?
I think the role is twofold for me. Maz being the captain is great because it takes off the pressure where, you're expected to do things. So I get to take a more calm, which I've learned to become calm now, calm approach with the younger guys.
Right.
Still fiery approach with the older guys.
Right.
And just get to, really share some knowledge that I've learned, man, from all the other guys before me, bro. And just, calm them down when they need it, kick them in the butt when they need it, and just be the utility knife that our team needs, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Arifali, you obviously unable to play, but you are on the A team. I mentioned it before as a serviceman.
Yeah.
Your mentality this time must be different, right? Because you're not in the center of it all. You're almost on the outside looking in. And I believe you're, obviously as a captain, you've always watched the game as a whole, even though you gave some of that away, but you also at some point took it on yourself and you've watched the game from back there, right? So you know what you're doing. What is your mentality coming into this tournament, and what are your expectations for this team?
Well, I expect the team a win.
Yeah, obviously it's Orlando. Yeah, there's anything less than a win is
we can't lose at home. But I'm just looking forward to watching them play, man. Like I really, the way they played in Stanmore was lights out. Amazing volleyball. Yeah, I watched every single game. Was never bored, even like the not so crazy games. Can't wait to see them in person. Go at it. I think they're all ready. They look ready. And I just hope they have a good time and not play with any pressure.
Right.
I know the pressure is there of winning, but at some point, like, you gotta enjoy playing. Like,
exactly.
You gotta enjoy what you're doing. If you're not enjoying playing volleyball, like if you're not a fan of what you're doing, you're wasting a lot of days.
It's a hobby. Yeah. What's your mentality this time as a serviceman? Different, I'm assuming.
Yeah, just get that ball over, and start some chants from back there.
Yeah,
make some noise. Feeling good. I'm gonna run around.
Yeah, so guys, just so you know, Arifali cannot run around, so don't worry. He will not be running to the net and saying,
I'll run to the net. It takes me a while to get back.
We'll have to carry you back. There's a lot of players on this team. You just run there, but we'll got you on the way back. I want to ask you guys a question before we finish and get into rapid fire. 2 questions, actually, but we'll start with one, and it's not on the list of questions, so I'm going to throw you a little off guard.
Thanks.
You both have been there for the Orlando Union Dynasty for a long time. And the one constant has always been, while you guys have been constants, but now you're injured, for example, and JJ has been in and out of the game, the Orlando Union front line. You both have had to captain that front line, deal with that front line, see what the front line gets in terms of, fame and notoriety and popularity. And of course, we all know they've played. Of course, they're probably the best front line to ever play this game, and it's a pivotal part of Orlando Union. Arifali, I'll start with you. Captaining that front line, is it easy work, or was it tough at times when it came to like, damn, these guys are really good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm gonna overstep. Sometimes as a leader, you feel like, okay, I'm going to overstep, like just, playing with them or whatever. And because they do their own thing. It's kind of like they just figure it out. And now that I play with you guys, I realize like nobody really says anything. They just do it. Like they just talk to each other and they're cool. And the previous captain was Hilal, and he was a front center. You coming in as captain, and you came into their time where they were in their prime. Was it easy work? Let them do their thing? Or was it more so like, okay, I got to be very careful, not tell them anything, let them kind of just figure it out?
Yeah, no, I don't think I was ever very careful of hurting their feelings or anything like that. But I also never had a moment where I had to say something to them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And when they didn't, neither did we. Right? Like it was
true.
all of us together. Like if one person didn't know what they were doing, that means the other 5 on the court or 6 on the court also don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
We never let one person go down.
Yeah.
right? Like if one goes down, we're there. Like, yo, get up, let's go this way. Like
Yeah.
we're good. Don't worry. So we always tried to lift each other up. And when it was their time to shine, it was their time to go. And when it was their time to hold, we're swinging.
Yeah.
Hold, we're
You guys
swinging.
did that so well. You guys
right?
did
And,
that so well.
and there was moments they need to take over. Like, all right, start cutting.
Yeah.
You didn't need to tell them.
Oh, like hell bent on them that almost that we forgot the talent behind them, right?
Right.
But now, if like I'm a part of the team, I realize, yo, the talent behind them is just as much. Maybe not behind Imran Juvraj, that's besides the point. But behind like where you played Arifali, and of course the back center where JJ played, that meant a lot, right? Like you guys had to be ready on your toes and playing and being offensive. It wasn't easy work. Sorry.
Even playing behind Imran Juvraj, that's a tough position.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough.
Because you don't know what you're getting.
You really don't.
And that's harder than knowing what you're getting.
That's true.
Because you can get hit in the face.
That's
like it can happen.
For
That's
sure.
True. That's true.
Right? But yeah, I get what you're saying. I just enjoyed it, honestly. Like,
yeah, was it almost like a time where it was like, all right, baby, you cut, I'm gonna hit. Let's go.
It was the less you have to work for the dub. Let's get it. Like you do all the work, we'll do all the nice stuff.
Yeah. I think, and I think that a lot of us, I'm not saying that's just me, but I think a lot of people would always be like, the Orlando front line, the Orlando front line, the Orlando front line, the Orlando front line. But then you realize, like, man, it took a lot of pieces for that to work. And I'm sitting here with two of the biggest pieces, right, for to make that work. JJ, you were part of this front line in terms of you were captaining this front line at a very young age when they were kind of grooming themselves, and then they became this thing. And you kind of passed it on to Hilal at that time. Did you ever foresee them becoming this staple, this grand thing?
I think after we won the first one in 2011, 2012.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's when I could really say, yeah, man, these guys are going to be something. I think it was the first time you saw two guys from the wings just, crazy.
Playing with
and then you have Hilal, he understands the game in a different level in that front center position. He knows that, all right, my left and right are pounding. It's time for me to slow it down.
Yeah.
Or my left and right are slowing down. It's time for me to pound.
Right.
So I think coaching that as the captain, it was great, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if I would tell you, Sal, how would you like to play when you don't have to do anything in the front line? All you have to do is just hit, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'll sign up any day.
Dream come true. Yeah, absolutely.
Dream come true. You. I remember when I came and I was told I was going to be on A, and you come to me and you go, get ready. And I'm like, yeah, no, how hard could it be? And you're like, no, get ready. And now I know what you mean. 8 weeks later. You both, obviously, staples of the team, known, famous guys who have been through this Orlando Union dynasty for years, right? Mainstays. We talked about the golden boy mantra for JJ and Arifali. You've come up to the ranks, captainship, champion. Like, you guys have got it all. But there's going to come a time where you almost have to let go. We've talked about that too. JJ, where do you think the future of Orlando Union is heading? Because there's a lot of talent. There's 50 plus players. And what do you think that entails?
I think our future is as bright as ever. When you come to our practice and you see 6 teams Friday, like you have to buy a bot to be able to confirm on time because you might get left out. Like they had to change the system because
that's when you know JJ's a call.
I copy and paste. I'm like, bro, there's already 79 people here. I think our future is great. I think that if we can keep our unit, whether it's Hilal, KJ, Arifali, me, whoever is in that A spot, we can drill one thing into them is this game is really about all 8, 9 of you guys. It's not about one. And I think that's, again, and I've said this to anybody who ever's asked me, that's what made us different from everybody else.
100%.
And I think the results show, and I think that the younger guys want the results. So they're looking for the path to the same results.
The formula, yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we're going to be a force for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah, man. Knock on wood.
We got a lineup.
There's a long laundry list of people.
Yeah.
Laundry list of people.
Arifali, what is your take on the future of Orlando Union? Obviously, hopefully that's with you in it.
Also, I mean, I think we look good for the next 5 years. Like it's going to be dominant, for sure.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young guys who are coming up. Oliasker, Freddie, Porgus, Anu.
Yeah.
MZ's coming back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of younger guys, and they're gonna get their time, and it's gonna be earned.
Absolutely.
Right? Not gonna be given to them.
100%. Like how we did.
Something you get, it's not the same.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be earned. They're gonna earn it. They're good enough to earn it.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think they're gonna take over, and they're gonna do really well. They're gonna run with it. And they're gonna do it their way. Just like we had the freedom to do it our way. Like the elders gave him and then us the freedom to do it our way. I think they deserve the same freedom to do it their way.
I agree with
you. And there should be no, like, they should be good at what they're doing. We watched. We're different. Like we took right.
Yeah.
Got stuck. Like, yo, Uncle
Yeah.
I do this, man.
We were different. That time was different.
So, and they're different, which is fair.
Fine.
It's like everyone wants to learn in their own way, which is fair. And I think they're gonna be fine. I think it's gonna be amazing, and I can't wait to see it.
JJ, and this is before we finish the rapid fire. You talk about a system that works. You talk about a blueprint that works, and then Arifali talks about things that need, maybe they want to do it a different way. I think what made Orlando Union so good was because they were different, right? And if you look at it today, people are following in that footstep. Like Stanmore does it different, right? Like Jaffrey's did it different this time around, right? Like people are finding innovative ways to be different. We try to be different with Z. Like there are people coming out with different blueprints. Do you think that the game, the way it's going, that Orlando Union will look way different now than it will in 5 years or 10 years?
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that change. I think the younger guys have working with them during this tournament, I think you really get to see that they have a really, really big imagination, which is amazing.
Right.
And they're understanding, they take advice, which, I can only speak for myself with the older guys like Riaz and Ali and
right.
guys. I took advice, but it was with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
And they're taking advice open-heartedly, man. And I think for the next 10 years, I think it's going to be amazing to see what they concoct. Like
how much they grow.
This tournament, for example, this overtime rule, we've been playing for years.
Super cool. Right? Super cool.
I think it's awesome. I think their ideas are amazing. I think, hats off to them for being this young, man, and taking this on.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking to them about awards, and they were coming out with some crazy awards this year, which I think is great for the game because it
good awards.
Yeah, it awards people that are playing different roles for teams, and like, it's awesome, man. It's awesome.
You don't get credit usually.
Exactly. All right, we're done. We're done with the main part. Now rapid fire, which I love because no. This is when it gets real fun.
All right.
Okay, so rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you guys similar questions, so we'll go back and forth, and then I have some different ones at the end. JJ, we'll start with you. Favorite championship?
The first one, bro.
First one.
Hands down.
Makes sense. Ari, favorite championship for you?
It's a toss-up between Marhaba and Sunshine.
Okay. JJ, your role model growing up in this game?
So my role model in this game might come as a surprise, but it's actually Samir Jaffer.
Wow.
So if you know or you've seen me play, there's a stomp that I do.
Yeah.
This stomp came from Sammy. So it was either him stomping the ground or him kicking me in my butt. But that stomp is he definitely my role model for sure.
I would have never known that. So that's awesome. That's great. I always wondered where that stomp came from. Yeah. I thought it was just cosmetics. It's just
the big guy stomp. So Me and Tammy have the same stance.
Ari, role model for you growing up in this game.
I had a couple.
Mhm.
One majorly being JJ, because like he took us under his wing early. But besides that, maybe watching playing. You'd probably throw Throb in that mix, Munna in that mix. There's a guy named Arif Nasralli.
Lefty, baby. Yeah, and you're a lefty, so it makes total sense. JJ, if you had a choice, would you go back to old school volleyball, or you like the new age volleyball better?
What's your definition of old school
what's
volleyball?
old school?
Old school volleyball, in your face, cutthroat, talk, shit in the cafeteria, like just, go hard. Like 4 or 5 solid teams. Everyone wants to beat the other one. Or new age volleyball where, it's like athleticism at its finest, and lifting the ball to like doing some crazy stuff and spike. Like what the excitement now or the excitement back then?
I think the excitement back then was a different kind of excitement. I think you'll never get that charm, and we've talked about this before. That charm that was there in Allentown, in New York, in Toronto, those 3 hosting teams, that charm I don't think you'll ever get back.
Yeah.
So if I could find a happy medium between the in your face, but yet I don't want to kill you after we play.
Yeah, which is what we're trying to get at, right? Ari, the same question to you. What did you enjoy more?
I mean, our answer is pretty similar. Like a hybrid of both. Like
hybrid of both.
Talk to each other on the court as much as we want.
Yeah.
But we can eat lunch together right after.
You both were captains, and so JJ, I'm going to ask you the way of captaining. Old school or new school? New school is very let him kind of figure it out. Old school is like, yo, wake up. Like, I'm going to give you that death stare.
I think both are effective. I think that knowing your audience is also important.
Yeah.
For me, because I grew up in that in your face era, I guess. I guess a hybrid, not the default, but a hybrid to me is probably because some people like Arifali deserve the in your face, and some people like Elias Garalu deserve the pat on the butt. Hey man,
it's all good.
We'll move on.
Right.
Yeah.
Arifali, for you, which way of captainship was more effective in your opinion?
A little bit of both, depending on who the player was, depending on the moment. Actually,
that's fair.
More than the player, like the moment.
That's
like
fair.
if you see someone struggling, like obviously you don't want to harp on them in that moment.
Yeah.
Because it's technically no one's messing up on purpose. Like no one's doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's just happening and you got to find out.
Exactly. JJ, the V or playing back center?
The V.
Really?
Hands down.
Wow. Okay. Any reasoning behind that? Was it more enjoyable to you?
The V was more enjoyable because I feel like when you go V, it's less pressure for one person.
Yeah.
It's also the game changes because it's 2 different, or in our case, 5 different balls.
Yeah.
And even Maz, when he was playing in the middle, was a different ball.
Yeah.
So I think for strategy, the V. For overall performance, the V, 100%.
Arifali, to you, the V or playing back center?
Oh, the V. I don't enjoy playing back center.
Similar reason to JJ?
No, I just don't enjoy because like the court becomes smaller when you're in the middle.
That's very true. That's very, very true. If you had to choose a decade, JJ, the 90s, the 2000s, or the 2010s, what do you think was the best decade of volleyball?
Selfishly or holistically?
Holistically.
Holistically. I would say the 90s was the best volleyball, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree with you. Ari, which one of those?
Part of the 2000s and 2010s.
Yeah, but you kind of saw them. I mean, for me, the 90s is all about New York winning in 1997. So for me, it's the 90s, right? But for you, like you still, you kind of saw the late 90s. So it wasn't really much.
I didn't see any of the 90s.
So even the late 90s, yeah, you're right. I guess 98, 99, there was really nothing to see. 2000s to 2010, which one would you take?
We were kids. So like we didn't, like I go back and watch that 2007 finals, Orlando versus
Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah.
It's like, what were they doing? Like, this is how they were wrecking people. Like, so definitely 2010s were for me, it was the most.
JJ, in your opinion, the GOAT.
I don't even think there's a conversation to be had. Faisal. Period.
Arifali?
Faisal.
Can you describe to me, Arifali, how good Faisal was? Because I just don't think people understand. Like some kids, you know, they just ask me all the time, like, was he really that good? A lot of them didn't get to play him, right? A lot of the guys nowadays didn't get to play him. I mean, I know JJ shared a story about him, but Arif, can you tell me like how good he was?
Okay. When you're about to play him,
Mm-hmm.
when you're about to play a team, you're like, all right, against this team, we're gonna do this. And then if it's not working, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when you're playing Faisal, you're like, all right, let's just get 1 point. And after we get that first point, let's just see how bad we're gonna
Yeah.
like if the game's to fit, let's make it a 4-point difference in this game. Like you knew he was gonna beat you.
Yeah.
And the good thing about Faisal was he took every team leveled. Like it didn't matter who he saw, he gave you his all.
Yeah.
And that's what you wanted.
Yeah, true. JJ, for you, third ball point or returning someone's third ball? What's more excitable?
So now, like in my age now, I would say taking a third ball point now means a lot more than it did before.
Really?
For me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
Because I'm now the old guy who is
Mhm.
not supposed to be doing that.
Right. Right.
One thing I like to do is what I'm not supposed to be doing.
Yeah, of course. That's the best feeling.
Absolutely.
Arifali, for you, taking a third ball point or taking a service point, what's more enjoyable?
Service point.
Really?
Yeah.
I would never expect that.
Easy, right? It's easier to deal with, right? You just
that's true.
Once.
That's
Third ball, you have to hit like 50 of them.
That's
Sometimes,
true.
you know?
JJ, do you think you're far from your prime, or do you think you still got a lot left in the tank?
Wow. This was one you were supposed to send me earlier, man. Do I think I still have a lot left? I think playing wise, I have some left. I think where I'm gonna shine in the next 10 years is mentally.
I agree. It's crazy because growing up in the game, people always tell me, man, you just don't got it here. And I'm like, bro, like I'm thinking the game, man. But not now that I'm here, I was never thinking the game. Yeah. I thought I was thinking the game. I wasn't thinking the game. The things I see now, way different than the things I saw before. Arifali, for you, coming back from an injury, still think you got a lot left in the tank?
I'd have to see when I come back. Like if I could still move.
Okay. Let's just give me an answer, man.
I mean, I think I could still hit the ball.
I see that in practice. One knee, you're still chopping the ball. So with two knees, you must have a lot left in the tank.
Yeah. I mean, I can still hit the ball.
Do you think that you had a little bit of an advantage being a lefty in a game where it's super dominant righty?
Super advantage.
Yeah.
Especially playing back right.
Yeah, I feel like it was like
this way.
Such a different ball.
You can go
seriously.
It's not predictable.
It's it was crazy to see. Arifali, I'm gonna let you answer this one. I'm gonna leave JJ out of this.
Wow.
Johnny Bhojani.
Coach.
What did Johnny Bhojani mean to Orlando Union?
Oh, everything. Bro, that guy it was his heart that we were on. Like, and he let us know that. Like when we lost, we weren't worried about each other.
Yeah.
We were trying to avoid Johnny Oko. For the first 30 minutes, we like, you go.
Yeah.
You calm it down.
Yeah.
And then give us the signal, and then we'll come. Like you take the first few hits because you're his kid. You can do it. Like if he tells us, bro, we can cry. Like he can rip us. Like he was serious, and he'd 100%. Come to every practice pre-tournament.
Every practice, bro.
JJ would bring him to, and you could not tell him there was no practice, bro.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't get away with it.
It's like, when we were young and our dads would say, today is Wafat. There's no practice. It's like, if you, like Johnny Uncle was like that, bro. It still is like, when he was older, he was like, yo, if there's no practice, he would be pissed.
Yo, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know if I can. You know, Sunshine. He wasn't supposed to be there.
He was not supposed to be there.
What do you mean?
He was not supposed to be at the grounds.
Nope.
No way. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
Tell him.
so I'll give you a first, I guess. He broke his collarbone. So if you notice, he was in a sling.
Yes.
He was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The tournament started on Friday.
Yeah.
He got admitted on Thursday.
Oh,
I got a
what?
call on Friday from the hospital. My dad's like, "Okay, I'm ready to go." I'm like, "Go where, bro? Where are you going?" He's like, "Listen, I'm coming to the tournament. Either you get me a ride, or I'm gonna call this ambulance and I'm gonna get my own ride."
What? Yeah, he would say that.
And lo and behold, I was like, "Listen, let's not talk about it now. We'll discuss it later."
Yeah.
Now, he was going through a lot of medical stuff at that time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, "Look, this is not healthy for you."
Yeah.
I turned around after opening ceremony and he's rolling in a scooter.
What?
And I'm like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
He had called at that time. Mohamed Reza Manikia and Abbas Muki had a
Yes.
emergency transport company.
Yes. Yes.
Called them.
Yeah.
Like, "Send your driver here now to pick me up."
This is the PG version. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All I get is a text message with the invoice, and I'm like, "All right." And yeah, he wasn't supposed to be there.
Wow.
He checked himself out, and he
was the
there.
heart of our team. Like he wanted us to play and win more than we at times
Yeah.
we wanted to play.
Yeah.
And win. Like he was there.
For me, the one image that stands out is that 2016 final where he's in the middle of that court holding, everyone's hand, and it's like you don't think that was going to be his last time, but if that was, when that was his last time, it was like, man, like he got it all. Like he saw it. They won. It was his passion. He loved it till the very end.
Absolutely.
And he deserved it. I talked about him in my interview with Riyaz's uncle and Ali Reza, and I just don't think people knew what he meant to a lot of us, even outside of Orlando, right? Like, I think I was also nervous after I lost that Johnny Uncle was going to come to me. And Johnny Uncle didn't come to you like,
"It's okay."
yeah, he would come to you like you're chilling outside and somebody's pulling you down. And you're like, whoa, what? And he's like, what the hell was that? Like, obviously, PG version. And I'm like, what do you mean, Johnny Uncle? And he's like, how could you lose that game? And I'm like, bro, I'm trying to avoid picking up my father's calls because my dad would ask me, my dad's first question to me is, how did you lose? Papa, watch the game. If you watch the game, you'll know how I lost. Johnny Uncle was like that, bro. He was my father figure in terms of like the guy who was up my ass wondering why we lost, because for him, it didn't matter if you were from New York, Orlando. He just wanted the States to do well. Like, he's just like,
He just wanted Japanese to lose.
Yes. Like, he was just like, we got to beat Toronto. Okay. Yeah. And he, like, that was just like, I think after he left is when I missed it the most, because he would watch those games, even if it was New York versus, when nobody else would watch. He'd watch those games and he'd come to me and critique me and tell me, a lot of people didn't know that. Like, he would come and critique me and tell me and be like, yo, you got to lead your troops and you got to do this. And he'd be the most blunt dude, because when you're captain and you're running a team full of youth, you're the guy who's blunt, and you need someone who's going to be blunt to you and tell you the truth. Right. And he was that guy. So we miss him, man. We do really miss him. And he was the heart and soul for a lot of people, Arifali, actually, we'll turn to JJ first because you're the older of the group.
Yeah.
Give me your predictions for this tournament and what you think is going to happen in a few days.
Wow. Like, you have to clarify prediction.
Who's going to be in the finals?
Oh,
wow. Okay, so I mean, obviously, there's our A team, which I expect nothing less. Anything less to me is a loss, and not winning the finals is a loss. So my prediction is Orlando to win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The second spot is, I mean, you have to rob.
Yeah. But you don't need to list the teams for me. I know what they are. I've done 6 interviews. I need you to tell me who the second team's gonna be.
See, I'm from the old era. So after this thing airs, I have to be careful about the repercussions that I'm gonna face. I'm
yeah,
gonna
the new era wouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, the new era would be like, yeah, it's all good. Like
This 2-hour interview could turn into 3-hour phone call after.
I'm gonna say stars.
That is the correct way. You did that right. That's the correct way. I've learned so much from you. The correct way to go about it.
After his interview, I have to say stars.
Yeah, I agree. Ari, you're not getting away easy. So you knew it was coming. I gave you a whole minute to think about it.
No, I was thinking what I hope it is.
Yeah.
I hope it's Orlando A versus B. I hope.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? That's what I like. If that happens,
Me too.
it doesn't even matter anymore.
Yeah, both our brothers are playing on B and JJ is playing on B. So yeah, we're rooting for them.
So for that would be amazing. Realistically, I mean, I see Orlando A winning the tournament. I don't see any weaknesses right now. But we'd play stars. And I'd really want to play stars.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm playing,
Yeah.
but I really want to play stars because it would be like the 10-year, it would be the decade close.
Oh, you're right.
Right? Because we played them in 2012.
2012. Yeah.
Right? It would close out the decade for us.
Yeah, that's cool.
And for him, like it would close out his because that was his first. I don't know if that was his first finals or not, but that was his first against us, and it was our first win.
Yeah.
To come back 10 years.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be
It'd
pretty
be
cool.
lovely.
It would be lovely.
It would be lovely. It's a fitting word for the venue.
I was gonna ask you guys for your comments, but for your last parting comments. But instead, I'll ask you one last question, and you can leave with this. It'll be a way for you to make your comments. 15 years ago, we were at champions in 2007. 15 years later, we're at champions 2007. Arifali, these last 15 years for you, what were they like? If you can put it into a sentence. On the volleyball court, that is, of course.
One of the best journeys ever. Like,
could you have imagined that full circle, like this was going to be the midst of your volleyball career?
No, not at all. Like the brotherhood, the memories that we've created, like it's just been. It wasn't even something I thought of at that time. Like I didn't even think it wasn't even a vision. It just happened. And I hope it happens again for the next 15 in a different one.
For sure. JJ, for you, going back 15 years, you got to play back center in a final. If you went back today and told your 22-year-old self back then, this was going to be your next 15 years, do you think that 22-year-old would have believed it?
I think that 22-year-old, because I was 22, would have said, no, duh. But now at 37, I can say it was the starting of something that nobody, I don't care who you are, would have saw. It was the best time I think we've had as a unit, as a club, as a community. By far, it was life-changing in our volleyball lives.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
JJ, when you close this chapter, let's just say it's this tournament, the next tournament, 5 tournaments from now, you're going to be happy with your career, it seems like.
Absolutely.
What is the legacy you want to leave behind?
That team is more important than self.
100%. You have 2 daughters, so there's not going to be a JJJ. If anybody wants to know, JJ stands for Johnny Jr.
Correct.
A lot of people didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people actually didn't know that. They thought it was initials to your name. But it is actually
real name.
Ali Bhojani is his real name. I'm not listen, I have to do my homework. JJ stands for Johnny Jr. and hopefully there'll be a JJJ. You never know.
Inshallah.
If there is, inshallah, you'll pass down the torch. And if there isn't, I think your father would be very proud of what you've done. Ari, let's just say you decide after your knee injury, I don't want to play anymore. You close a chapter on your career. What is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be?
had fun doing it. So should everybody else. It's just volleyball.
Would you be happy with that 15-year career?
I'm happy now. Like,
fair enough.
That,
fair enough. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. We're done.
brother, thank you, sir.
We did it. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I'm so happy that I got to do you both. I think well deserved, long time coming. And I think you guys were as pivotal as anybody else in what Orlando Union did. And I think that you deserve all the flowers in the world. The golden boy and the silver serviceman.
If I could, if you would let me, I want to take this time to really shout out our young committee for what they're about to do in the next couple of days is going to be epic. And I think they deserve a real pat on the back, high five, standing ovation, whatever that you feel is necessary. But, you know, they're the youngest group I think we've had to host something of this magnitude, and they deserve all the credit in the world.
No doubt. 100%. It's not easy hosting a tournament. I've hosted 3 and it is no joke.
No joke.
None at all. Thank you guys again. I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. I'll see you guys in a couple of days, and good night. And I love you guys. Take care.
All right. Thanks, man.